What's up, everybody? We are live from Mobile, or however the hell you pronounce it. Personally, that's up to you. Um, and then we have Jason Ponte, Matt Barr, Javier Vega, and a special guest, non-49 GM member, but he's here with us in Alabama, is Jarrett Bailey. How's it going, Jarrett?
Cheers, guys. What's up?
Cheers. So,
you just drinking wine over there? Is that wine?
Yeah, he's personally having a wine.
I leave and you guys get weird, huh?
See, Javi, you leave and everything goes to shit, man. That's
I know, bro. It's fucking crazy.
You leave and it's
Wait. You leave and it gets weird? No, that's not what's happening.
I'm the responsible adult, I guess.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Obviously, everyone wants to know what the hell's going down here in the Senior Bowl. Who looked great? Who's someone that they should look at for the 49ers being a potential member? Javi, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick this off for everyone. Who's someone, your guy that you want to say, you choose 3 players. I was going to say 1, but that's fucking difficult. 3 players to where you're saying, get him on the Niners. Get him on the Niners. 3 guys.
David Moore, guard from Grambling State. Outstanding guard. He was phenomenal. He owned Basham on several reps. He wasn't getting beat very often. He had really great sets in those, what was it? I think it was like 2-on-3 drills. And then they did run some 9-on-7 drills, and he was mauling guys for the running lanes. I thought David Moore had a hell of a week. All 3 days he was solid. He was played guard both sides, left and right, and then he did play some center in some of the individual work, and then of course in team drills. He was solid, man. That's a guy the Niners should look at. David Moore was great. The other one is Austin Watkins Jr., wide receiver, UAB, excuse me. I was talking to Matt before they even started practicing. I was like, who the fuck is that guy? And he was like, that's Austin Watkins. And I was like, damn. And not trying to be weird or anything, but like he physically was, he fit the mold. I think he's like 6'2", probably like 215, great ass. No, I'm trying to be weird, but it's like he has an athletic build to him. If you remember correctly, Kyle Shanahan said he had said Debo had a dunk, and I would apply that same verbiage for Austin Watkins Jr. He was great in his routes, good hands, exceptional run blocker. He's a finisher. He was really solid. And then the other guy was I had it up. I had it up earlier. Let me figure. I have it up. It was I want to say it was Cam Spence, or who was that? Matt from Tulane.
Oh, Cam Sample.
Cam Sample, the defensive end. He played a little bit of he was playing some edge rusher. He played inside. He had some really good moves, really good hands, quick feet, just really great off the ball. A guy that the Niners should consider. Obviously, they're going to need a pass rusher with whatever happens with D4, whatever they do with Kerry Hyder going forward from there. So I think the Niners should address, obviously everyone wants them to address the offensive line. David Moore is a guy you could probably get in the 4th or 5th round, maybe even later because of the school he went to. Austin Watkins, we spoke to the UAB coaches and their the VP of player personnel. He had mentioned that Austin has gotten a lot of his off-field stuff kind of cleaned up and really focused on. He knows that he has a really big opportunity to get in the NFL. And then with Sample, we spoke to him after practice the other day, and he spoke about his hands, his footwork, what he wants to get better at. He knows he needs to gain a little bit of weight, but he's a guy that definitely would fit for the 49ers. Those 3 guys, I think, are all scheme fits. All seem to have really good personalities, really nice guys. Apparently, from all the reports we had talked to people about, they look like they're hard workers and they're ready to get after it at the next level.
Yeah, I can back up what Javi's been saying because those guys, all 3 of them stood out. I'll give you my 3 real quick just so we can kind of run through this. Richie Grant, safety out of UCF, University of Central Florida. This guy, he reminds me of Jimmy Ward if Jimmy Ward got interceptions. Like, he is all over. He does a little bit of everything. He's great in coverage. He intercepted Jamie Newman twice in the last day of practice. I think he had 3 picks all week. Yeah. He almost had one against Mac Jones and went through his hands in 11-on-11s. He looked really good from start to finish. And then I'm also going to go back to UAB, Jordan Smith, edge defender for them. The coaches raved about him. They said he needs to put on 10, 15 pounds, but he can keep it once he gets it there. And he was just his first step is so fast. So fast. The 49ers need to replace Dee Ford. I don't think he's ever coming back. I don't think Dee Ford's ever going to play football again. And if that's the case, you need to bring in a body that can replace him. UAB, smaller school, you can get these guys in the later rounds, just like Javi was saying. Jordan Smith would make a ton of sense for them. And then the last guy, Dylan Redunz, North Dakota State, tackle, guard, whatever they want to put him at. We talked to Joe Staley, a couple months ago, and he's been training Redunz all season long. It shows. This kid was mauling everybody. He was stopping everything in his path. I know a lot of 49ers fans are not happy with Mike McGlinchey. Maybe this is a move they can make and they can move off McGlinchey. But we also saw Redunz play inside. When he played inside, he was just as good as when he was outside. So really, this guy can just crush. And I'm super excited to see what he does at the next level. The problem is he may end up sneaking his way back into the first round because of his showing here this week. He's been the best offensive lineman there. And that's saying a lot because there's been a lot of good offensive line play. But Dylan Redunz, for me, has just completely stood out as someone they should absolutely go to.
That was great. Sorry, I was before you spoke, Matt. I was all like here talking, trying to hand it off to you. I was like, wait, I'm on mute. But the professional you are, you just took it over and ran with it. And I just wanted to say, I know we were pretty late going on the show, had some technical issues. We're in mobile, so we were kind of just all crammed in one room, said, fuck yeah, let's drink and talk some Niner football. But unfortunately, there's crazy echo when you do that. I had to run upstairs, put my laptop on a pillow, basically, so I could have it stand and talk to you guys. Now, Jason, go ahead with your guys, or it doesn't have to be three. If there's just one guy you want to rave on, then go ahead. But I'm giving you the option to rave about three.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do one. When I started to dig into the film on day one, it was gonna be, just real quick, if anybody can go on mute. Yeah, that's me. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have that loud ass voice. My bad. Jabril Cox from LSU.
That's why.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for that, Javi. As you see the memes, things have progressed nicely.
Yes.
But look, with when it comes to Jabril Cox, man, I was really impressed with the way that he was winning a lot of his pass rushing. From the linebacker position, he was winning a lot of those against tight ends. Obviously, the idea is not to put a tight end on an edge rusher or anything like that, but he showed incredible. What's the status? Yeah, we'll talk about that. What's the his move outside to move inside to get somebody? Then he looked really good in coverage. He was fluid. He looked like he could move his hips and he looked good, man. I honestly when you watch the film, right, it's one thing to know every single player, but when you're watching it, you want to look for things that you're looking and you say, oh man, look at that. Who is that? And then you go look him up and then you're like, okay, this is who it is, right? Because, the most hardcore guys know every single body, but, I didn't, with my first experience. And he jumped off the tape, man, when I was watching him, and he looked amazing. And, for a guy who can pass rush as well as that and cover, that's something that you don't really find very often in a linebacker. And I walked away impressed when I was watching his film, man. And then, I love receiver play. Austin Watkins, you guys talked about him, man. The first day Jamie Newman hit him with a bomb, and I said, who is that? Like, again, when you watch the film and it pops like that, you're like, okay, who is that guy? And you go and look, and Austin Watkins made an impression immediately, and that was Jamie Newman's one of his, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, that was one or two of Jamie Newman's best throws, probably his best throw, that one, and it was like almost like a corner route that he hit on the run, like he didn't have to stop or slow down for it. So I saw Austin Watkins, Leo last night. Leo talked me off of the Amari Rodgers thing. I was interested in watching him. And I was watching his release, right? Like that's what I was looking at, right? So, I got some good advice when evaluating those one-on-one DBs. It was like, hey, those DBs are at a disadvantage, but those first few steps, you should be looking for who's going to win the rep, and that's where you'll find it. And I found that Amari Rodgers was slipping by guys. He was making 50-50 plays. But I'll let you, Leo, talk through what you told me because it really kind of changed my eyes because when I started to think about it, you were absolutely right.
Yeah, so early on into the season, I remember seeing highlights of Amari Rodgers, and I was like, he needs to be on Kyle Shanahan's offense because he's another version of this backyard bullshit to where you could throw him the ball at the line of scrimmage and then you go run for 20 yards. I'm like, hey, he fits that. But then, especially if this team gets Stafford, you're going to lose a lot of that backyard bullshit. You're going to be able to go vertical more. And when I watched the film on Amari Rodgers, what concerns me is that he's a practice player, which, that's okay. For some of us that have played sports, we've seen guys or girls crush it in practice, and then game day comes and they're just not the same. And I noticed that with Amari Rogers this week. Obviously, him being at Clemson, I haven't seen any of his practices when he was at Clemson. I just saw what's on the game, and he doesn't win those 50-50 balls in a game. I watched his film. I haven't seen one 50-50 ball that he won. If he knows that he's not the primary read, his routes are really, really lazy. And that just throws a red flag to me. That's just not somebody you want, because defenders in the NFL, they pick that up. That's where guys just get erased being on rosters, is when you run routes that way. So I'm out on Amari Rogers as someone that was on him saying, hey, I want him to be a part of this team, but now I'm out on him. And the one I do like is Sage Surratt.
Yes.
He's the wide receiver.
Yes.
And from Wake Forest, didn't play this year, opted out. The reason why I like Surratt is because I want someone that has a strong point of catch. I'm not saying like Debo or Ayuk don't have it, but Surratt is kind of like a bully with those 50-50 balls. So the ones that Amari is winning in practices, Sage Surratt won that constantly over and over and over in games, not practice, in games. So I said, okay, if the 49ers do get a guy like Matt Stafford, what is he going to do from time to time? He's going to give his receiver a chance to win. He's going to throw up a 50-50 ball down the field. And Sage Surratt is someone that I would have confidence in because he is aggressive at the point of catch. Oh, hi, Jason. And just kidding. It's Jarrett's in here. He had some technical problems with this video. It's fine. He'll be Jason for a quick second. And so that's someone I like. Ben Mason, someone commented in here. I haven't looked too much on him myself, but I know Javi and Matt have been paying a lot of attention to Ben Mason, and they're saying he is not as fluid as Juice. Juice is just a beast when it comes to being that fluid as a fullback. You don't see that in the NFL. That's why he makes the Pro Bowl every single damn year. He's not as fluid as Juice, but he's able to make plays from the fullback position vertically. Running real routes, running 7 routes, which are corner post. He's able to do those. So that gets me excited. I'm just like, okay, like he's a fullback, so he's not going, day 1, day 2 at all. He's going to be a day 3 pick. And with the 49ers currently where they're at with 10 picks, sure. Like I love Juice. It's just fullbacks. He's not used enough to warrant a new contract because it's an cost. And this team is just going to be too up against the cap. Go ahead, Matt.
I agree. When it comes to Juice, before we throw it over to Jarrett, Juszczyk is really good at what he does. The problem is he costs, $5 million? Is what his last contract was.
Correct.
So if I'm the 49ers front office, I offer him $2 million, and I say, this is it. This is the best we can do. If you don't want to stay here, completely understand. We'll talk about Divine Diablo too. $2 million, take it or leave it. If you leave it, that's fine. We're okay. We'll make do. Charlie Warner can play the position. Ben Mason was electric, man. He was consistently beating linebackers in routes. He had a couple toe drag catches down the sideline running corner routes, which is not a fullback route at all, but it's a Shanahan fullback route. So he looked really good doing it. Much stockier than Juice. Looks stronger than Juice. Excuse me, the Natty's coming back up. But Jarrett, you've been here all week too. First off, introduce yourself. Let the folks know who you are and stuff. And then what were your biggest takeaways in practice?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm Jarrett Bailey. You can catch my stuff on Pro Football Network, Steelers Sports Illustrated site. So, Afito Melifonwu, I saw it in the comments. He was a guy that caught my attention. It was one day, all over the ball. His hip movement looked really fluid. When they do the individual drills to warm up, he just looked really solid. Frank Darby, receiver out of Arizona State, looked phenomenal. Yesterday, he had a play. He was lined up against Ambry Thomas from Michigan. Ambry stayed with him. It's just the fact that Frank Darby made a great play in the back of the end zone. It was running almost like a fake out and then broke it back in. Thomas didn't bite. I can't remember who the quarterback was. I want to say it was Jamie Newman. He made a solid throw and it got there. So Frank Darby looked really good. Other receivers that looked solid. Shi Smith from South Carolina. He looked very good. On day one, he made a great catch. I want to say, who was it over? It might have been Gillespie from Missouri. Don't quote me on that. I have to find
I think that's right.
Yeah. So, it was just a great full extension diving catch. He looked really good. Matt already brought up Richie Grant, but it's worth talking about him twice. I mean, the dude was the best player in Mobile this week. 2 interceptions and 11 on 11s yesterday. He had 3 throughout the week. And one-on-ones, he was the toughest out there was. In terms of the guys who raised their stock the most and made the most money this week in terms of getting higher draft pick, it was Richie Grant. He's going to be an absolute stud in this league. So other guys, I mean, DJ Daniel had a really good day yesterday. They're doing 7-on-7s, and he stuck with his man like glue. I mean, they let those go on for a while until it ends, and DJ Daniel was on his man the entire time. He earned audible praise from his teammates. You could hear him screaming, yeah, DJ. He looked really good yesterday. Now, there were obviously, a few guys that did disappoint. Being a Penn State guy, I was hoping for a lot more from Shaka Toney. He didn't really perform all that well, so that's disappointing for him. But no, there was a lot in terms of DBs and wide receivers. I mean, they all had something to show. But now Richie Grant, man, he stole the show.
No, I'm out on Pitts here. So, Jason.
Well, as our guy Andrew Petrini would say, Kits and Pitts. So really, that's why they should take Pitts, and that's pretty much the only reason why. I want to run through some of these questions in the comments because they've been coming through fast and furious. This is great. Has anybody been a standout return man? No, they didn't really do anything return wise.
You able to turn it on?
Guys, put yourself on mute. I'm gonna smack them. God, I'm gonna smack them.
Go ahead.
There we go. There they are. All right. They didn't really do anything punt return wise, kick return wise. We didn't see anybody really take any meaningful snaps. They didn't do full speed stuff. They kind of just had guys out there catching punts, basically. It was pretty rough for a couple days. Patrick Jones looked really good out of Pitt. We talked to the Pitt head coach, and they were beaming about him and Weaver. Who else was there? Well, people were asking about Michael Carter from UNC.
Correct.
That guy would be incredible in Shanahan's offense. He would crush Shanahan's offense. The problem is he's probably a day 2 pick, and Shanahan isn't taking a running back on day 2. Especially if he's down a pick.
Let me ask you this. Let me go ahead. Is to elaborate on why the 49ers should get a running back. Not saying day 1, not saying day 2, but elaborate on why they should. Because I feel like that's something that people just kind of take for granted because, hey, Kyle Shanahan has earned that. He has earned to where you don't have to really think about the running back position.
Yeah.
But you're out there, you've seen them in practice, and you see how electric some of these guys are, like Michael Carter. So why would it be important to take a running back? Say day 3, to be fair, because I doubt he takes one day 1 or day 2.
Javi or Jay, take this one.
Go ahead, Jay.
Why aren't we drafting Najee Harris in the first round? I'm just joking. Honestly,
Najee's oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, watching Najee Harris makes you salivate at the mouth, right? And it's just like everybody on Twitter likes to play Madden, so let me play Madden real quick. Yes, I would love Najee Harris in this offense, but that's not the rules. Them ain't the rules. I just have to have faith in the fact that this game continues to produce people. Like when we started going through the Shanahan list, right? We were like messing around yesterday, just hanging out. And we're talking about, we should get another RB that they get injured off. Yeah. I mean, Jets leaving though. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that. So we're talking about Terrell Davis is a Hall of Famer based on Mike Shanahan.
Why?
Olandis Gary, Mike Bell, all these guys. So this is a proven and sound system of just finding guys who are, if you're able to read the blocks that you have in front of you, you're going to be great. And, I as much as I would love Najee Harris here, we just know that that's not how it goes. And, it has to be later on, that's going to happen, if at all, right? Undrafted free agents are their thing, right? And who's to also say that Jermichael Hasty isn't going to be a part of this backfield, going forward, because of what he showed as at least a third. So, it's not as pressing as I think.
And, and there's a guy, and I don't know. I'm not into running back draft projections too much, but I think the kid Evans out of Michigan could be a guy that goes undrafted and he could be a bigger back for Kyle Shanahan to opt to use. He looked really good out there today, but running backs, they always fall, and they all, you always find guys in the undrafted room. He played in Michigan, so he's physical. He's, he's familiar running behind a fullback. So that's a guy. And now with Herbert from Virginia Tech, oh my God,
That kid can
That
ball.
kid, he can catch, he can block. I asked him a couple questions about his pass blocking. He said that's something he needs to improve on. But other than that, he said he would fit an outside zone. He's a willing blocker. He just needs to work on it a little bit more. And then, of course, out of the backfield, I don't think he dropped a pass, Matt, the entire time. I don't think he dropped one.
Him and Michael Carter looked like Shanahan back. They had Shanahan back for
guys. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? Real quick. Did you guys talk about Dimitri?
Who?
Dimitri?
No.
No.
We haven't yet. Go ahead.
That boy is Swiss Army knife. That's the Swiss Army knife right there. It's funny. Last year at the Senior Bowl, Antonio Gibson went from a wide receiver to a running back.
Interception.
Right, and he went from a running back to a wide receiver. He's incredible, man. Like for a running back to have that sort of acumen as far as like moving away from guys and getting themselves open and doing that at the Senior Bowl, like Antonio Gibson's a stud. He did all that at the Senior Bowl. The same thing with Dimitri, man. Like I don't see how you can look at Dimitri and say, man, I would love to see what Kyle Shanahan could get him, going. Like look, let's be fair. Mostert and Wilson are fine pass catchers, fine route runners. They're fine, but he looks different, man. And it really lends itself to the positionless offense that Kyle really wants to run, man. Dimitri looked incredible, man.
Yeah. Well, I think the positionless offense is it's not going to go away in Shanahan's offense. But if they are able to land a quarterback, who I think we have to talk about at this point, if they're going to land a certain quarterback or two, whatever it is, they can get a guy that can continually push the ball down the field, that can really open the offense up and really give them another 50 pages of stuff they can use because they can actually throw the ball down the field. I think this positionless offense goes away just a little bit in the sense that they don't necessarily want to use these guys as they don't want to use Debo as a running back. That's not the goal. The goal is not to give him the ball in the backfield every time and let him get crushed by linebackers, which doesn't happen very often because he's fast and he's strong. But you also don't want him taking the hits. He's a slant god. That's the way you want to use him. I think with a quarterback, which we're going to throw it over to you because you're our guy on all this stuff. So what is the latest news on? And I'm sure the comments are going to go fucking bananas.
I know.
What's
right?
the latest news on Matthew Stafford?
It's all the same from this morning.
Is that what
we're
doing? We're doing that?
Yeah, I mean it's all the same from this morning. It's all the same from last night and the day before. It's fluid, and that's the problem with Twitter. Everyone wants instant results. It's not how this shit works. We literally watched Kyle Shanahan speak to the Detroit Lions person for 3 hours on Wednesday.
John Lynch.
Yeah, John Lynch and the Detroit free general manager.
Don't get me excited. If coach is here, I'm running down on him.
It's
what it is.
Yeah, John was there. So we literally watched them for 3 hours talk. You know what I'm saying? So they're not just sitting there just to, hey, what do you think about this prospect? We know what they're doing over there. We had access to people like Nicole Lynn, agent for Quinnen Williams, Deontay Brown. We had access to Ben Albright. We had access to Albert Breer, who literally him and I spoke for like 15 minutes. Like, people need to stop with this shit. Like, not everything has to be when you want it. It's just how this works. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what you're mad at me for because I reported. what are you mad at me about? Like, that we're trying to improve the team? Like, what are you really mad about? Like, that shit gets on my nerves. Like,
how dare you, Javi? How dare you look at trying to help this team and just giving info that you have? How dare you?
Bro, I spent my own money to get there. I don't make any money off this. I get nothing from this except the joy of speaking to you four gentlemen and just giving my thoughts. Like, get the fuck out of here. And it just cracks me up, man. It's funny. You know what I mean? Like, literally I had several players hit me up afterwards, like, yo, bro, keep doing what you're doing. And people hit me up, keep doing it. Like, I'm out here just trying to, make a living, try to get into this to make a living. Like, I don't even answer half these people. I just look at them, bookmark them, and I'll be here when you're ready. So,
yo, let's keep it a buck, Javi. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life. All this thing happening. Like this is what you guys don't understand. There's nothing about this. We're having a blast. And if you think that in any way that this is in any way fun, like, come on, man. Like, this is, who wouldn't want to, we're just like y'all. Like, I don't get it. Like, we're in the same spot that you guys would be. We just got lucky with this credentials, and we're putting in work. That's it, man. That's all it is, man. We're putting in work.
Yeah.
You go to these practices, and it's nuts how many people are there that are like, no shit, big deals. Me and Javi sat next to Drew Rosenhaus and just ear hustled. And we were just listening to what Drew Rosenhaus had to say.
He was like cursing somebody out on his phone. He was like, yo, this dude, he's going to force a trade or we're fucking out. Like, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's just amazing what you can get. You can just pick up from just sitting down, shutting up, and listening to what's going on around you. And there's a lot of stuff that happened, and observe what's going on, because there's a ton of people here. The only team that doesn't have someone here is the Rams. And like, what the fuck are they doing? That is so dumb to not even have any representation.
Well, wait, they're in on Stafford.
So let's talk about that shit real quick. They're not in on Stafford. When you look at it, one, they don't have a first round pick this year. That's gone. That's Jacksonville's right now because of the Jalen Ramsey trade.
Right.
And then they're already over the cap for next season. They're 31 over. And then looking at the dead cap, first, you have to find somebody to take Jared Goff's contract. The 49ers aren't able to move Jimmy Garoppolo because of his contract. Well, guess what? Jared Goff's contract is worse for a quarterback that's better, but it's not a freaking world. He's not a world beater. Yeah. There's a reason why the Rams are looking to trade him. And so they just cannot make it. What this reminds me of, it's basically the Tom Brady shit with the 49ers last year. Did the 49ers want Tom Brady? Yes. Could the 49ers financially afford Tom Brady by having someone take Jimmy Garoppolo's contract? No. They weren't able to do that because you get Tom Brady, you're getting Antonio Brown, and you're getting Rob Gronkowski as well. So you got to think about those contracts too. They couldn't make it financially work. And then when you look at the Rams, would the Rams want Matthew Stafford? Yes. Can they make it financially work? No. That's the thing. So it's like when we see the Rams rumor, like, okay, yeah, like why would they not be a realistic target? Like, why? But then you just look at the meat and the potatoes and you say, okay, yeah, that's not happening.
All right, just a quick cursory Google search about Jared Goff's contract told me if they were to cut him this year or trade him or whatever it is, you're on the hook for the dead money, right? $65 million in dead money on Jared Goff's contract if they try and trade him or cut him this year. Unless you can get the team you're trading to really open it up and just take that contract in full, which you can negotiate, but generally teams are like, nah, we're gonna take whatever's left after you eat the dead money. $65 million.
Hobby.
$65 million.
Matt,
holy
stop making sense.
Yeah, you're making too much sense right now, Hobby.
Yeah.
Also, there's a comment that just rolled through real quick I want to address. It's our guy Nick Ellert, who's on like all our stuff. He's awesome. So Nick said, if you think Goff stinks, you can't back Jimmy and use the same arguments. Because if you want to back Jimmy and say QB wins matter, Jared Goff wins.
I can't find it.
Jared,
yeah.
He might have deleted it. He might have.
Is that a pocket white claw, Jason?
It is, and there is one more info, and I am enjoying. So, for anybody that's out there, this thing with the tweets and the memes, and Kyle is killing it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Kyle is killing these memes, guys, and yeah, I'm sorry. It's you know, we went into this with no sort of pranks, and this immediately I started it. I have to be honest, I started it this morning, and now it's cascaded into what it has, and yeah, I hope you guys are laughing because I am.
Yeah. So I had this brought up to me, and I want you to just basically break it down, Javi. Quickly. It's just they said, oh, what if they added Goff into the deal to Detroit because, hey, that general manager came from the Rams. Please explain.
The dead money you trading away for Goff, and then you're adding in the salary. The dead money you're trading away for Stafford, then you're adding in all the money for Goff. Doesn't make any sense. Like this is why this podcasting and live video stuff is not for everybody, because not everyone does all the homework that they should. And I don't want to be rude to people, but it's like, say, you know, I go to the expert when I need something. Like, hey, can you help me with this? I literally say it all the time. I don't understand the cap. Like, yep. I ask questions. I don't try to sound stupid on, you know what I mean? Or I'll go find it myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it is what it is. And then with the Stafford and the Rams thing, it doesn't like you said, it financially doesn't make any sense. The Niners have been in on it for a while. You know, I even put the tweet out a couple weeks ago. If Dan Campbell was hired, Matt Stafford would request a trade literally 2 weeks before Dan Campbell got hired.
That's true.
And it happened because that's exactly what was happening. Before I was working with Pro Football Network, I have direct contact to people like Ben Albright, like a Tony Pauline. I was speaking to these folks and others around in the NFL. Like, I do this for fun, and people get mad at me for it. It's like, why are you mad at I hope the Niners get better?
Yeah, that's something I don't understand is like, if we're trying to give you insider info, why are you mad about it? Obviously, everything is fucking
If you want
fluid.
to come do this, my house is in Texas. You can come sit up here with a microphone. You can have my cell phone and try to manage this stuff too. My wife hates this shit. She hates it.
Mine too. But
this is just fun. You know what I'm saying? It's annoying. Zach Greer, Marquez Stevenson was very good all 3 days. He's a little stiff, but he was pretty. He was good.
I want to
quick. We're gonna have a change in hosts. So Jason, you're gonna have to come out here.
I didn't agree to that.
And replace me.
I agree to it.
Yeah, I have a radio segment in San Diego.
Oh, wait. So Jason's gonna take my spot because I have a radio segment. Do you see the flexing that's going on here? Like, do you see the passive aggressive shot? Like you guys watching this? This is what's happening in the house, right? Like right now. Like this is what's going on.
Tony Gwynn Jr. is waiting for me right now, so
who?
I gotta just some guy, Tony Gwynn. You know his son. Yeah,
I know Tony Gwynn. His son can't bat 400.
Hey, put Gibster's thing up there real quick.
Jason, come up here though, and
no, we
let
don't
him
say
take
Jimmy
over.
Garoppolo sucks. I know I don't say Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. Leo doesn't say it. Jason doesn't say it. We say he's very limited. We say he's held his offense back, and it's true because when other defenses say, "Hey, you paid this guy $27 million to run the ball in the Super Bowl," that's what happens. And when you speak about certain things, you look at all the numbers. When you deep dive into all of these numbers, he was in the bottom half of pretty much every category on all the deep analytics, not the raw stats of completion percentage, of yards after attempt, blah, 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 blah. All the offense was manufactured by Kyle Shanahan, and everyone around the league knows it, and that's why there's no trade interest. Okay, there was a video put out of Jimmy Garoppolo practicing in Arizona. He was cleared.
Looked fine. Quit on the
That's
team.
the issue.
Quit on the team.
Like,
That's it.
stop, man. People need to stop. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Garoppolo gets a lot of credit for helping turn this franchise around. He gets that. For real. He helped. He was a big part of the turnaround. Like, great. But guess what? There's other quarterbacks that are better. If a rookie came in and he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo, we would all forget about Jimmy Garoppolo. So what's the problem?
He's good looking. He's got QB face. That's a huge part. Jared, you sent out a tweet earlier today because you were trying to rile up all the Jimmy stands because we were we woke up this morning and all of us just chose violence, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. So, what was your tweet that you said?
I sent, if Jimmy was traded from Jacksonville and ugly, nobody would care right now. No one cares. It's the thing. It's the fact that he came from New England, learning under Tom Brady, learning under Bill Belichick, and he looks like a GQ model. Everybody wants to, hope that he's great. He's just not. And everybody wants to point out the fact that, I tweeted this out early too, and everybody wants to point out the fact, they'll jump in my mention saying, well, he went to a Super Bowl, man. Look what he did in that playoff run. Well, after, Matt, you pointed this out to me earlier, after he threw that interception against Minnesota, he threw a combined 13 passes up to the Super Bowl. It's not as if he was lighting the world on fire. That they got to the ball based off of great run game. They ran for 230 yards against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then the defense played phenomenal up until that point. That was not Jimmy Garoppolo lighting the world on fire. Same thing could be said about Ryan Tannehill and their playoff run.
Exactly.
It's not as if Jimmy was playing god awful. It's just the fact that Kyle Shanahan didn't trust him after the interception. He threw 8 passes in the NFC Championship game 8. And then when it came down to it, they're up 20-10. Patrick Mahomes made the plays he needed with his arm to get Kansas City back into it, and Jimmy Garoppolo made the plays with his arm to get Kansas City back into it. So it's not as if he lit the world on fire.
Edward Brito with the comment of the night: Hoyer and Gabbert blinded 49ers fans, and Beathard did too. Where you look at all these quarterbacks that came before Garoppolo, is Garoppolo better than them? Yes. But if your baseline is to compare him to Brian Hoyer or CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins or any of these other guys, that's not – no one goes in somewhere and says, well, he's better than the backup, so we should just automatically be happy. That's not how this works at all. It's not how this works.
Jason, you there?
I don't know. He's running around the house, bro. There's footsteps all over this place right now. I just hear it's chaos. It's chaos. Trap house, bro. It's chaos. There's some questions about Divine Diablo. Javi, me and you watched him really closely this week.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Someone that was on our radar.
Interesting. He was interesting.
He had some not so good reps. If they're going to ask him to cover wide receivers, he's in trouble.
Yeah, I think so.
He's in trouble. But if they ask him to cover tight ends, I think he can do it. If they ask him to cover running backs coming out of the backfield, I think he can do it.
So
he looks like a box safety to me.
Yeah. So something that me and Matt noticed and other people noticed while we were watching the practice, they had Divine Diablo calling the plays, and kind of having me as a Sam linebacker. He was outstanding in that role. You know, the Niners love the hybrid linebacker stuff, and he would fit that mold. He looks like a Cam Chancellor. He's a little. I guess he was, kind of just he was playing a little bit safe out there. I thought he was a little bit slower to the ball, but he was trying to get all his reads right. He was processing things as quickly as he could. I thought he played pretty well, and he's a very interesting prospect. I think we're going to get him on the podcast. You've already spoke to him, so we're going to have him on. I think he's a fit. He's another guy that'd be a fit. Jason, I put something up for the share. Put that thing up real quick.
Man, everything is
just so you know, guys, I can't hear anything.
Oh god,
just in case.
This is a disaster.
What are you guys talking about over here? Has there been anything interesting that's come across?
No, you can just keep going with the other questions. There's more questions.
Notorious 87. He looked good covering tight ends. He was all over them. Like I said, if he's asked to cover wide receivers, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. He's massive. I don't think people understand how big Divine Diablo is. He's bigger than most of the linebackers out here. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Jared, you were at all the practices. What did you see from Diablo, and how do you think he fits in? Not just with the 49ers, just in general. What do you think his role would be in the NFL?
No, I mean, he looked good in the box. I think that's, there was a couple guys who looked better suited for the box. Him and Hamza Nasruddin, I think, are just going to both be traditional box guys. There's nothing wrong with that. I see a lot of people who would criticize both of them for their play, especially in the one-on-ones, when they do the one-on-one drills, with the receivers and the DBs, and just saying, oh, Hamza got killed in one-on-ones again. Well, he's a safety. How often are you going to have a safety going one-on-one with a wide receiver one in coverage down the field? It's not going to happen a lot. You put guys like that in the box, they're going to make plays at the line of scrimmage. They both got nose for the ball in terms of when it comes to, stopping the run game or, at least, getting close to the line of scrimmage in terms of stopping the play. So, no, I think both of them are going to be, kind of that hybrid box safety that you can kind of line up in the slot as well, take away the tight end, short passing game, shallow crosses and stuff like that. But when it comes to, being a traditional safety, both of them need to work on their coverage skills. And if they do, that's great. That's fine. I like both of them for that role. And there's nothing wrong with, Marcus Allen did this when he went to Pittsburgh. And obviously being a Steelers guy, I'm a little bit biased on that. But, when they brought him in, he wasn't really, even at Penn State, they lined him up down low a lot because he was great at finding the ball. And then, this year he transitioned to a full-time linebacker and became a vital part of the rotation, especially when Devin Bush and Vince Williams all went down. So I think we could see something similar happen with both Diablo and Nasruddin. Nasruddin was lined up for the majority of the second and third days as a Sam linebacker. So, I think that both of them, they look good when they're lined up down low. They both look good against the tight ends, which should need to know in terms of that. So, no, I like both of them. It's just a matter of people, they'll see the one-on-ones against receivers and say, oh, they're bad. They can't do that. No, that's not necessarily how it is.
Yeah, someone's asking, would he be a Tart replacement? Yes and no. Tart's much more versatile than I think Diablo is going to be. Yeah. I think Tart can do a little bit more outside stuff. Like he can cover better, I think. And I think he's more athletic than Diablo. Diablo, I mean, if you drafted him and you turned him into a linebacker, I wouldn't even hate it. Yeah, I wouldn't hate it at all. If you turn him into a Sam linebacker, or even a Will linebacker, just somebody that's not, he's big. He's fat. He's just big, man. And if a team wants to go that direction, I think they could. Someone asked about Felton getting drafted. He's absolutely going to get drafted. He reminds me of Antonio Gibson in the sense that he can do a little bit of everything. He's one of those Swiss Army knives we were talking about. He did have a couple drops. He didn't look super, super great for the Senior Bowl, but he's definitely going to get drafted. He's absolutely going to get drafted. And then what else we got in here? Nico Collins. What do you guys think? What do you think of?
I like Nico. I thought Nico, he's a Michigan guy. He was underutilized at Michigan. I thought he was pretty good. He had some good reps. I didn't think he flashed or anything like that. He kind of look like a Donovan Peoples-Jones. He could be a late round guy who goes to the right situation and gets some reps late in the season. He's going to be a guy who's going to need to develop a little bit more with his route running. I saw some good blocks from him. I saw some good routes. I saw him drop a couple passes, but all in all, I thought he did okay. He didn't hurt himself at all this week. I thought he's going to be similar to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Unfortunately, Harbaugh hasn't found a quarterback in college that can get the ball consistently down the field, and Michigan was bad this year, so that's not going to help his case. But I think all in all, guys who went to the Senior Bowl are going to be helped with their draft stock because there is no combine. You're going to just only get pro days, and we might see a lot of inflated numbers, like guys like Waddle's going to get like a 4.1, 40 or some shit. You know what I mean? So there's stuff like that. So I don't. The guys who might have hurt, Notorious 87 asked guys who might have hurt their stock. I think Alex Leatherwood hurt his stock.
Yes.
I didn't think he was good at all. He had a couple really good reps, but outside of that, he was super inconsistent.
He's gonna have to move inside.
Yeah, they kept moving him inside the guard during team drills. They had him outside at left tackle, and then Zach. We did talk about Richie Grant. Richie Grant was outstanding all week. So there was a lot of good talent out there. I think Jim Nagy got a really, really good squad. The Niners need a quarterback, and everyone's talking about Mac Jones. What were your thoughts on Mac Jones, Jarrett?
Man, I didn't like any of the quarterbacks over there, to be honest with you. None of them are it. In terms of if I'm ranking how good all of them performed, I mean, Mac was number one, but that's not a high bar.
Yeah.
Sam Ehlinger didn't look good. Felipe Frank looked bad. Jamie Newman had a few moments with downfield throws, but in scrimmages he was bad. Kellen Mond looked bad. I don't think any of these guys that are at the Senior Bowl are going to be career backups. If I had to guess, they'll be journeymen, be arms in camp. I think that's the vast majority of what they'll be. Maybe they'll go to the XFL and be able to show off there. That's fine, But in terms of being legit NFL guys, I think there's 3 in this class that I love, and the rest of them could all bust. I don't want to compare anything to the 07 draft class of quarterbacks where it was just putrid. But because I think we're going to have, like I said, at least 2 of them will be very good, and then we could have one that's solid. I think 3 of them could be very good, and then Justin Fields is a guy that I know everybody's high on. I'm not too high on him. He could still be good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's good, but if I had to guess, he's going to be average at best. But outside of those 4, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to do anything. Yeah,
don't buy all the hype. There's a lot of talk out there that Mac Jones was having excellent days of practice and he looked really good, and I didn't think so.
He literally fumbled. He Wednesday where he made that one throw to the kid from Florida, and that's the one that's the tweet that's floating around. But literally the next 4 or 5 snaps, he fumbles 3 times. He has an out route that kind of dies on him, and then he has what would have been a sack because he just didn't get through his reads fast enough. So he wasn't playing very well. Individual stuff, where it's just wide receiver versus corner and the quarterback throwing the ball. Yeah, he looked fine there. That's normal shit. But like in the scrimmages, he wasn't very good. Now I know he was hobbled with an ankle injury. He did play through it on Thursday. So there was that. But otherwise, I thought Mac was man. I thought Newman had some moments, like Jarrett said. The interceptions were just a putrid interceptions. Like they were bad interceptions. He's gonna have to get that shit worked out of him. Ian Book. I mean, he looks like all 4 of us except for Leo. I mean, Jason, who's 6'10". Ian's like 5. Ian Book's I don't think he's taller than 5'11". Like I think
he's listed at 6 foot, and I think that's while he's wearing the cleats. He's not a big person. We were obviously very close to the field and stuff, and he did an interview after the first day of practice.
I'm not 6'10".
She's just so mad about the 6'10" thing. Book's not a big person at all. Not a big person at all. He's like Kmart Baker Mayfield without the arm. Like that's just what he reminds me of. The way he carries himself, the way he moves. He's more athletic than Baker. He's gonna be like Jared said, he's gonna be a career backup, possibly scrambler type, and he's gonna be a guy that it'll probably come in and win like one game, but he throws like 7 for 18 for 110 yards and a touchdown, but he runs for like 60, and he just somehow wills a team to win a game. I don't dislike the kid. I don't see any quarterback talent here in Mobile that excites me. And in the game with the game tomorrow, it's gonna be interesting how they rotate these guys in. Jamie Newman is the one I really, really wanted to like. I went in, I was like, I want to like you, I want to like you, I want to like you, and then he just makes bad decisions, bad throws, interceptions, and it's just you're killing me, bro. I really, really, really want to like you, and it's hard when you make bad decisions and throw 4 interceptions.
Yeah, he was rough. I'm looking at these questions here. Quinn Meniers, is that how you pronounce it? Belly Boy, I guess that's what they were calling him the entire time.
Belly Boy.
Yeah, he was solid for a D3 kid. Like, yeah, he was. I thought he was excellent most of the day. I don't think he had very many bad reps. I thought he stood up well versus really good competition. He had a really good rep against Patrick Jones, which kind of was eye-opening. I was like, holy shit, this kid is pretty damn good. There's something there with him. Jim Nagy wouldn't have brought him here if he wasn't worth looking at. And he's going to get a shot somewhere. He fits a lot of teams' molds. He could probably be a rotational offensive lineman. I don't know if he can play center, but I can see him as a swing tackle or a guard, or maybe just even being a starter in the NFL. I thought he showed out really well in these 3 days of practice.
Jason's just getting roasted in the comments, and I love this, man. It's been nonstop all day. We've been bagging on him, and now the comments just show up and they're just dropping bombs from half court on him. This is great. This is fantastic.
The reason that the Knicks are doing so bad right now is because Austin Rivers is right here.
Jesus Christ.
One of the other guys that I thought kind of hurt their stock, to get back to the Senior Bowl, Kadarius Toney, Florida wide receiver.
Why?
I love it so much. Kadarius Toney didn't impress me. He had some Kyle Shanahan type plays where they kind of just tossed him the ball in a reverse and they tried to get him the ball.
I don't have an OnlyFans. No, I don't have an OnlyFans.
Oh my God. It's getting out of control.
Only chance. Only chance.
Hashtag only chance. Kadarius Toney looked a little sluggish in some of the drills. He had a drop issue pretty bad. He could not catch the ball all the time. So
they had there was a scout there. He had mentioned there was concerns of Toney's off the field tough stuff too. I don't know what all that details, but they kept bringing it up every day. I was like, he seems like a nice kid, but I don't know. Maybe he does fall. He had a lot of drops, like Matt said, but I think the issue more now is like the off the field stuff, because they had mentioned he wants to be a rapper or something. And you know how us Niner fans know what they said about Dante Pettis with his photo taking, and does he love football? Does he love these things? And maybe that's an issue with Kadarius and why he might fall. But the drops kind of hurt him, I thought.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else stood out? Cade Johnson, wide receiver, South Dakota State. As everybody knows, I have a soft spot in my heart for FCS guys because I went to an FCS school. Cade Johnson looked good. Our guy Brad was on the scout side because he snuck over there because I don't know, they just didn't check his credentials, and he got to sit over on the scout side. He said the difference between the scout side and the peasant side where we were sitting is that it's very quiet on the scout side. On our side, everybody's talking and going over what they're seeing. The scouts are trying to keep it all to themselves. There's a play where Cade Johnson made a one-handed catch down the sideline while he was getting dragged down by the DB, and he said that the scout side went nuts when that happened. And when you get the scouts to get all excited like that, he's got slot receiver written all over him. He's going to be drafted, and he's a day 3 guy just because of pretty much where he plays. You play at South Dakota State, you're not going in round 1. You're not going in round 2. It's just the NFL is still populated by dinosaurs. So these guys still think and draft the same way they've been drafting for 20 years for the most part. So guys like that are going to fall, but it should work. It should work for him in the NFL. I think he's going to have a good productive career. But Jared, what was another guy that kind of stood out for you that you were like, you had no idea they weren't even on your radar, and then you saw him play and you're like, okay, this guy can ball.
I mean, like I said, I was a big Nasruddin guy coming in, but in terms of guys who were like under my radar that showed out, the other UCF DB, Aaron Robinson, he did really well this weekend. I liked what I saw. But no, Afitu Melifonwu wasn't a guy that I was really paying too much attention to, coming in. And then he showed out. I mean, like I said, Wednesday he had a phenomenal day, and I liked what I saw. He was all over the ball. In terms of other positions, I mean, like I said, I was really focused on DBs and receivers. So we go down the list of receivers. Trevon Grimes had a few nice plays. He had a catch in the back of the end zone where his back was to the sideline, got a nice toe tap in. I believe it was over Cameron Bynum from Cal. He was another guy that a lot of people were high on. I was going through Twitter and everybody's saying Cameron Bynum looks really good right now. He didn't look good at all. He got beat a lot, and he just looks sluggish a lot. So Cameron Bynum, I don't know what everybody else was seeing, but I didn't see anything that blew me away. I thought he was sluggish. I thought he had a disappointing week. But like I said, Shi Smith had a really nice week. Des Fitzpatrick from Louisville, the receiver, he had a really solid week. He didn't necessarily do anything that blew you out of the water any day, but every day, it was consistency. He made a few nice leaping catches. He's really lanky, man. He's taller than what you would think. When he goes full extension, he's hard to stop. Somebody mentioned Nico Collins earlier. I liked what I saw from Nico Collins, to be honest with you. It wasn't anything spectacular, but he did have a few routes where he just looked really shifty, looked really crisp. He's got solid hands. His name's escaping me right now, but he dropped the Florida DB Sean Davis on a beautiful route yesterday, probably the route of the day. I think it's Josh something. I can't remember his last name. It's escaping me at the moment, but
we don't stay up to 5 a.m. in Waffle House there, Jason.
but no, it was. There was if you go throughout all positions, I really liked Shi Smith. I really liked Frank Darby. I featured Melifonwu.
Yes.
And Hamsah Nasri, there's a lot of guys that are down on him for the whole coverage thing. Put him in the damn box and just let him work. Transition into an outside guy. I think the best comp I can think for him is Isaiah Simmons when he was at Clemson. He's so much better when he's just down low and doing short coverage and just working it inside. So if somebody uses him right, then he's going to be, I think it could be really good. But if they're just going to try to, tell him to figure it out as a traditional safety, there could be a little bit of problems. So that's not to say his coverage can't be fixed, but right now I think the best thing to do is put him down low, work on those things privately, see if you can transition him out eventually. But right now, I like him, and if they put him outside, that's fine.
Yeah, so the Senior Bowl gives us stuff. Since we were there, they give us a whole bunch of scout tape, and this is just some of the highlights from the day from Thursday. They put a whole highlight tape together. But the guys you're talking about, this St. Juice kid from Minnesota had himself a good day. I thought he was pretty solid on Thursday. There's Ian,
he was phenomenal.
Yeah, Ian Book, everybody. He's just super small. You can just see up close how small he is. And there goes Herbert from Virginia Tech. Shifty. Guy who didn't talk about yet, Keith Taylor from Washington, the corner. I thought he was spectacular. I thought he was consistent every day. He didn't flash too much, but what I liked about him that he was the same guy every day. He got better every day, but he was very consistent in his coverage. He played the ball well. He played his he just did his assignments well. He was everywhere. So I thought he was really good. So that's another guy I thought that's a guy that I would really like in San Francisco because the Niners do need a corner. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, this week you just saw a pass complete to Michael Carter there. This practice week could have been called the check down bowl because none of these quarterbacks are throwing the ball down the field. So it was really hard to evaluate some of the wide receivers and what they could do once the ball is in the air, which is very frustrating because the wide receiver group is very good. But you just saw Ian Book take off and run. And that's one of the things he did is he would tuck it and run a lot. So would Frank, so would Kellen Mond, so would Jamie Newman. These guys weren't really pushing the ball down the field at all. There's Kate Johnson at South Dakota State.
For those asking about Frank Darby, he'll be up here in a second.
Yeah, Frank Darby. We were right. I think is this the rep where he dances?
We're over here right there somewhere. But yeah.
Yeah, we're right there in the stands watching these guys and taking these videos and stuff. And I'm actually mad at myself because I cut the video on Darby early before he did all his dancing. Yeah, these guys, the whole group looked pretty good. I don't think there's anyone that really shot themselves in the foot too bad this week. It's going to be a very interesting draft. Yeah, this is the wrap. I think because
they gave him the touchdown. He looked back, and the next one he danced a little bit. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
I love Darby, and Herm Edwards is turning Arizona State into a nice little wide receiver farm where he's just growing them on trees down there. Darby's one of those guys where he didn't get to shine last year because of Ayuk. Ayuk didn't get to shine the year before because of N'Keal Harry. So really, these guys are they're taking their chances, and once they get out there, they look good. So that's us standing right there on the corner. It's literally I literally just saw my feet. That's awesome. But yeah, no, Frank Darby is someone that I don't think Kendrick Bourne is back for the 49ers. So if he's not back, then they're going to have to replace him. And Darby seemed like he gave off a lot of vibes that KB has, kind of the same kind of hype man attitude, but also a really solid receiver. So I would really like that. There you go, rolling chrome. I think Darby's a Kendrick Bourne type. Boom.
Here's another guy like Hudson, left tackle, right tackle out of Cincinnati. I thought he was outstanding. Jared, what do you think of Hudson?
You cut out, Javi. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
No, Hudson from Cincinnati, the left tackle, right tackle. What'd you think?
Honestly, I didn't look too much at the offensive line yet. I was mainly focused on the DBs and receivers. So, I mean, I went back and tried to watch a little bit last night, and then I fell asleep because I was exhausted. So we got to revisit it a little bit. No, but the ones that I did see, the Radness kid from North Dakota State, he looked okay. There was a few people saying on Twitter, he just got beat again. Obviously, you're not going to win every rep, mate. So you got to, take the good with the bad. But no, he looked okay. We talked about the Wisconsin Whitewater guy, man. He was the story of the Senior Bowl. It was just a lot of fun, seeing a D3 guy get a chance like that. And, he showed out. Now, Javi, like you said, I don't know if he's going to be able to play center. If he's going to be a swing guard, or if you want to put him outside, I think he could be, a solid rotational guy in that matter. But I enjoyed watching him play in that regard. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the linemen, I definitely need to go back and look a little bit on that. But I'm glad that you brought up the St. Juice kid, because he had, like I said, for a few other guys, nothing extraordinary for the most part. But the last play of team practice on Thursday, he had a nice pass breakup in the end zone to close out practice from the goal line. I believe it was against Des Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So no, he looked really good. I'm hoping that he goes up a little bit in draft boards, because he played really well. So I'm excited to see all of these guys in actual game action tomorrow, where it's not just drills and cones and whatnot. So I'm seeing Cade Johnson, South Dakota State. He also had a nice week. So Trey Brown from Oklahoma, another one. He looked really good Wednesday, did not practice Thursday.
Yeah.
But he was all over the place Wednesday. In individual drills, his footwork was great. He was very fluid with hip movement and whatnot. I liked what I saw from Trey Brown. So, he had to just sit it out yesterday. He was dressed. I mean, he did the initial, warm-ups, workouts, and then eventually like, yeah, I'm just going to shut up for the day. But, Tylan Wallace, receiver from, I believe, Oklahoma State, the Tylan. Yeah. He looks solid. Sage Surratt, he had his ups and downs. It wasn't as good a week as I thought it would be for him. But no, I mean, this receiver group is nice. And, all these guys are going to go, anywhere between, we'll see. We could see Kadarius Toney go at the end of the first round. I mean, that's as high as one of these guys is going to go. And then all these, other ones could be anywhere between 4 and 6. So I'm liking what I see in terms of all these guys that are here. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fun couple of days. I'm back at home. You guys are still there, going to the game tomorrow. I think we can end it on a couple questions here. Let's see what they have for questions. Outside of the Kyle Shanahan doesn't like black quarterback stuff. That's nonsense, but whatever. Let's see here. Any Stafford update? It's everything from I had this morning and yesterday. Nothing's changed. It just is what it is. It's just how this goes. Things are fluid as always.
Who would you rather have back, DJ Jones or Kerry Hyder? That's a question that popped up from Jan Middlecoff. DJ Jones is gone. So it's Hyder or bust if you want one of those two back. And Hyder might end up even pricing himself out for the 49ers. He had a lot of sacks last year. Teams will pay a premium for that. Obviously Robert Saleh probably wants him in New York, and they've got money to spend. So I could see him going to the Jets. I don't think either one of those guys are going to be back, just because it's a tough cap year. Even if they move off Jimmy, you look at either one of the replacements they would get to move off of him. It's not opening up a ton of money, and they got to take care of more important people like Trent Williams.
Yeah, our guy Brad Graham, shout out to him. SF Niners. He mentioned Bynum didn't stand out. Yeah, he didn't stand out either. The Cal prospect DB. He didn't have a really good couple days. So there's guys here that they're just gonna be, some of them are gonna go late in the draft, some are gonna go undrafted. But the Senior Bowl had a ton of talent. There's guys to find here.
What was our overall experience in Mobile? It's awesome. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
This stuff is fun. You know, we've gotten the chance to meet a lot of people that are way more important than we are. So it's a good time. I got to meet Jared for the first time. We've obviously been close to Jared on the Twitter machine before, but now he's just kind of sitting in our living room while we do this.
And now you can see this Jerry curl in all its magnificence for everybody watching.
It's beautiful. I love it so much.
Yeah.
The overall experience is great, and we're going to try and get even more people down here next year for 49ers Goldline. We're going to try and have the whole crew.
Yeah, that's the plan. You know, we're slowly trying to build something here. We're slowly working. That's just what we're trying to do. You know, no one's here trying to be Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport. We're just trying to help out fans get other access that they may not get anywhere else. So that's what we're doing.
Marco wants to have our autograph.
Marco, you have my phone number. What's wrong with you? You know, we didn't go to OTAs, Matt, but we did go to the Senior Bowl.
Hey,
that's an inside joke from the pod. But I think that should do it. We wrapped it up here. Let's see with the faithful one. If we do keep the 12th pick and we do go best player later, trade back. I would go trade back.
I would too. I would trade back, and there's plenty of interior offensive line guys that you can find in the 20s.
Yeah,
that you're taking, because obviously guard and right guard and center need to be addressed this offseason in some form or fashion. So
absolutely.
We didn't talk about Drake Jackson from Kentucky, but he looked pretty good all week too. So we talked about him on the pod.
He was good.
Yeah, that's if they keep 12 and get Stafford, then that's
all possibilities open up. So
they really do. They really do. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Jared, you know, again, announce yourself since you're on Jason's computer and you have Jason's display name underneath you, because this whole thing was a shit show trying to get this to work across the house. But you know, thanks for joining us doing this and stuff. And you know, obviously you've been hanging out all day, so this is a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate you having me on. You can follow me at Jay Bailey NFL for all the apparent Jimmy Garoppolo hate that I didn't wake up expecting to do, but hanging out with you guys made that possible today. So yeah, Jay Bailey NFL. Anything, you know, NFL bets, Steelers stuff, pro wrestling stuff, if you like it. So yeah, at Jay Bailey NFL for all my stuff.
And his pin tweet is one of my favorite things ever, where Jared breaks down why Julian Edelman is not a Hall of Famer. And it's absolutely worth a listen. If you get a chance, check that line, bro. Javi, how's it feel to be back home in Texas?
It feels good. Feels great, baby.
There it is.
My kids are a pain in the ass already. So, you know, it is what it is with them. But yeah, it feels good to be back home. It's not as cold here in Texas. It's nice. Got a couple of phone calls to make later, but we're good to go.
There you go. So thanks for putting in the time. You don't stop, bro. It's nuts. You get on a plane this morning and then you're immediately texting us with all this stuff. So we appreciate you, man.
No problem.
That.
Thanks, guys.
But thank you everybody for joining us for this. You know, Javi and I will be back on the podcast this week. As soon as something happens, we'll be on it. You know that. And then Leo's back. Hey, Leo, just in time to say goodbye. Tell people where to find you.
Oh, bye. Right here at Leo Luna 93 and Jason.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. You can find our Twitter ads all under our names and stuff. 49ersgoldmine.com. Make sure you check all that stuff out. There's gonna be a lot of articles coming out this week. Some that may be rendered very, very moot soon, depending on what kind of moves the front office makes. But Steph Sanchez, one of our writers, put together a fantastic plan of what the 49ers could do if they move on from Kyle Juszczyk. We talked about Ben Mason. Please go check that piece out. It's awesome. And she did a great job of putting that together. But all right, I think that's gonna be it, right, guys?
Yeah,
I think
I'm out.
Yeah,
I
all
gotta
right.
eat. I'm starving. Everyone,
Yeah,
be careful. Y'all don't get too drunk
Close to
tonight.
Pittsburgh.
Later.
All right. Have a good night, guys.